talking a little more on transcendental meditation. And with me in studio today is Richard Robertson and his wife Janini Robertson. Now, tell us, Richard and Janini, tell us about yourself.
Yes, okay. So I'm from Trinidad. Janini's from Brazil. But we have been working with an international organization, the Global Country of World Peace, which is responsible for the teaching of a technique which is called Transcendental Meditation. We have been teaching this technique for more than 30 years, and we have been traveling. We are here in Guyana now for the past 6 months, but we have been teaching Transcendental Meditation, which we will talk more about today, in many countries, including several countries in Africa, in Uganda, in Zambia, in Kenya, in Mozambique, and also we have been teaching, I myself have been teaching in Europe, in Holland, where we have our base, our center, in the United States, Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean islands, and in Brazil, of course. Janini is from Brazil. I've also been living in Brazil for some time, where we have been participating in our organization's activities in many of the states. So we are very active in promoting this program, and we are here in Guyana to assist to develop this program and to establish a center for transcendental meditation here in Georgetown.
What is this technique of transcendental meditation about?
Transcendental meditation is a very simple technique. It's easy to learn. We practice sitting comfortably with the eyes closed for 15 to 20 minutes twice per day, in the morning and in the afternoon or in the evening. Is a mental technique, and anyone can learn. Is from children to adults and older people. Anyone can learn. People that have many different cultures. For example, we taught this technique in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. Nowadays, almost all the countries know what transcendental meditation is. We can say all the continents have centers of meditation, and people are exposed to this very simple technique.
So transcendental meditation is global then. Now, what are some of the benefits you have heard meditators talk about, or you yourself have experienced?
Well, transcendental meditation, as Janini pointed out, is a mental technique. It was developed more than 53 years ago by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. It comes from a very old tradition in India that comes, it's about 5,000 years old. But in 53 years ago, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who is now considered to be the foremost scientist in the area of consciousness, started to teach this technique to the world as a whole. And people have found, that the technique is so simple, it's very easy to do. You practice it for 20 minutes sitting comfortably, and the first thing that happens, what people notice immediately, is that the physiology gets to a state of very, very deep rest. Why this happens is because the mind during this technique settles down. It's a mental technique, and when the mental activity settles down, naturally the physical activity is also going to settle down, because the mind and the body are intimately connected. So you get a very deep rest. Now, this is something that has been proven by scientific research. What has been found is that the consumption of oxygen drops by about 20% when we practice this technique. Now, this is very significant, because when someone rests at night, when you sleep at night, the consumption of oxygen drops by about 8%. So this shows that the quality, the depth of rest in this technique is much deeper than the rest that we get at night. Now, what are the benefits of rest? We all know if we don't sleep well, we don't feel good the next day. Okay, so rest is nature's way of creating balance and harmony in our physiology and in our system as a whole. Now, when we practice this technique, we get a deeper rest than when we sleep at night. And when we get this very deep rest, we get rid of deep-rooted stresses that we cannot normally get rid of through sleep. Sleep gets rid of the fatigue and tiredness of the day. But we continue to accumulate the deeper rooted stresses, and this gives rise to problems, psychosomatic problems. Doctors tell us about 90% of the illnesses that we have are psychosomatic. All these problems that people have, high blood pressure, anxiety, neurosis, insomnia, heart problems, high blood pressure, all these are aggravated by the accumulation of stress. So when we practice this technique, the immediate benefits are that you find that the mind becomes very clear, okay, because when the mental activity settles down, you create more orderliness in the brain functioning. And then simultaneously, the physical activity settles down, and then you get rid of stress. So two things happen when we practice this technique that people notice immediately. They have clearer thinking, okay, the mind is more alert. Afterwards, your memory improves. Students find that their learning ability improves, their concentration improves, and then you feel more energy. You get rid of the stresses, and then you begin, over a period of time, you begin to find that your health becomes very, very good. Okay.
You mentioned that it's from a tradition that is 5,000 years old. Is it something that's religious, or will transcendental meditation conflict with a person's religion practices?
Well, it is not a religion, it's a technique. It comes from a very old culture. In India, it comes from a tradition which is called the Vedic tradition. Veda is a Sanskrit word that means knowledge, and it's a technique that allows the individual to experience that inner, what you can say, reservoir of intelligence and energy that everyone has within. Now, modern science has actually found that within everything, every aspect of the universe, you have an underlying field, which is, according to physics, is the unified field of all the laws of nature. This is a field that is responsible for everything that exists in the physical creation. In Vedic science, it was known for thousands of years that we could contact this field. We can experience this field through meditation. We can experience the finer and finer levels of our thoughts. Every thought is an expression of energy and intelligence. And then we can get to that unlimited reservoir, that unbounded field of intelligence and energy within. Now today, since Maharishi started teaching this technique 53 years ago, the scientific researchers have been verifying this, that it's a scientific technique. It can be systematically tested and verified. People of all cultures, of all religions, can practice it. They don't have to change their way of life. They don't have to now adopt a new religion. It's a simple technique that comes from a very old culture that is very universal. The effects are universal. Anyone can practice it, and they can practice it in any, and it will actually enhance their religion, because when one is feeling better within himself, he's more healthy, he has a more strong mind, and he has better health, more energy, then he will find that he can give more to others. And the whole the basic principle in religion is the ability to give. And if one has within himself more, then he can give more. So transcendental meditation then could be very useful for anyone who is living a religious life.
So do you think that experiencing this field of intelligence within, is there any mysticism there?
No, it's not. Sometimes people think that when we say transcendental meditation, which is two big words, transcendental and meditation. Meditation is to think, and to transcend means to go beyond the level of thought. So we have the conscious level, the subconscious level, and when we meditate, we experience all these levels of thought until you reach a level that you transcend the level of thought. But that level that we experience in transcendental meditation, in a very simple way, is the source of thought. Is from where all the thoughts come. So the thoughts come from this level, and when we come out again, we bring this silent level that we experience in transcendental meditation to our daily life. So when you want to do anything, you want to do with this kind of silence within. If you want to make a design, for example, you want to feel that you are are in an environment that is silent, but it's not always like that. Not always you can have a very silent environment. So what is very important is that you have this silence inside.